Hi, Cavalier football fans. I'm Dan Ramey. Welcome to another edition of Cavalier Coach's Corner.
Southern Ohio Monument Company believes remembering a loved one after they're gone can be as personalized as when they were here. With over 400 in-stock monuments to choose from, there are shapes and sizes to match nearly everyone's personality, helping your loved one make a lasting impression. Southern Ohio Monument Company on East Main Street in downtown Chillicothe. Open weekdays 8 to 5 and Saturdays 8 to 1. Southern Ohio Monument Company, proud sponsor of the Cavaliers.
Hi, I'm Angie with ATI Physical Therapy located in Chillicothe. If pain or injury prevent you from doing what you love, but ATI Physical Therapy gets you back. Whether it's back to work or back to your play, ATI's energetic and motivating team is ready to help you begin your road to recovery. We will craft a personalized treatment plan incorporating the appropriate techniques for your condition. Stop by our Chillicothe location for a complimentary injury screening or visit atipt.com for a location near you.
Young's Family Market is family-owned and operated. M.L. Young founded the grocery store in 1936, and now a second generation of Youngs, Brad, Susan, and their children now operate the business. To also serve the surrounding area, the Youngs opened a second location in Kingston, Ohio back in 2014, making shopping easy by offering everything you need, including beer and wine, all under one roof. No more running all over town making numerous stops to get everything on your list. Instead, visit our store and find it all. We offer fresh, high-quality products for affordable prices. It's the Young's Family Market, serving the Laurelville, Ohio community for more than 60 years.
Kingston National Bank was founded in 1909 by local businessmen. The concept of a local bank supporting our community's financial needs with local decisions made sense. This is Phil Evans, President and CEO of Kingston National Bank. I invite you to make KNB your bank. We continue to make local decisions that benefit our communities. Experience innovative products and excellent customer service. When you need us most, you can count on KNB. Our community, your bank. Kingston National Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing in Central Center can customize t-shirts, banners, posters, vinyl lettering for your car or truck, and they can embroider logos for your school or business. It's time to show your team's spirit. And from Adina to Zane Trace, Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing has all the team colors. And of course, your Chillicothe Cavalier blue and white. So stop on into the shop in Central Center and see for yourself. Or visit Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing online and place your order today.
Welcome back to another edition of the Cavalier Coach's Corner. I'm Dan Ramey, along with Coach Doug Pryor of the Chillicothe Cavaliers, who got their season underway this past Friday night. Unfortunately, on the losing side of the scoreboard, 14-0 falling to Taze Valley. This was a very physical contest, Coach, and sure. I think that's the kind of game you want to play week in and week out.
Right.
But you don't want to lose players from it, and unfortunately, you lost one of your players, a starting quarterback, in Jaden Kane.
Sure, we lost several, and I don't want to leave the other guys out. We also lost, Drew Seymour. He'll probably our starting center and starting nose guard. He'll probably be out at least 2 weeks. High ankle sprain, and then Trevor Lee's knee is banged up. He tore his ACL last year and had his knee tweaked. Actually, on one of the same play that Drew was banged up on. But he took a couple big shots on that knee, and so he's kind of day-to-day right now. But yes, Jaden, I think it was I want to say maybe the second or third series that Jaden had to leave the game due to a broken clavicle and broken sternum. And so he's having surgery actually tomorrow, and it's an 8-week recovery. So, you might as well say this year is probably over for Jaden, and you hate to see that happen because he is, a fine young man, and was really, had worked hard this summer and was really anticipating a good season, and then, not even to get, one full game in. So, yes, sir.
I know that anytime you suffer injury, it's next man up.
Right.
That seemed to be the theme for you Friday night. The downside of that is when you have so many out, suddenly you run into continuity situations where it's a low percentage of having success. the guys step in, they've got to get used to what's going on. Others are already into the mix of things.
Definitely, you know, I mean, that was just it was a blow. You know, our guys didn't really skip a beat as far as their attitude towards the game, but as far as you know, trying to gel together and play within you know, our system. You know, Christian Benson, senior quarterback, you know, was mostly planning on playing inside linebacker and H-back for us. And who knows, you know, there might have been a situation where we wanted to, in short yardage, use him in the gun to, you know, run a quarterback ISO or something along those lines. I mean, we definitely have him working with our one receivers. But, you know, obviously your starter gets most of the reps during the week. And, you know, at times that showed. But, you know, this week, I mean, we know what Christian's strengths are. We knew that coming in. But we definitely have a great game plan. You know, Coach Dreyer has done a great job as far as getting Christian ready. And, you know, we look to have a lot of success this Friday.
It can take a lot out of the player to have to play, especially linebacker, especially inside linebacker.
Sure.
And then to quarterback the offense as
Right.
well. Not a whole lot of time for rest there.
No.
And I imagine you can get into some mind fatigue there as well.
Sure. You know, the thing is, I don't know about that, because as far as Christian Benson is concerned, because, you know, he came in and he wanted to keep going both sides of the ball. I mean, we've had to, you know, almost drag him off the field defensively and said, Christian, look, we need to keep you fresh and save you for offense so we can try to put some points on the board. And, you know, so we had a, you know, young man, Max Lee, step in, an inside linebacker, and, you know, did a wonderful job at our Sam backer. So that was a really, really a great situation that we, you know, a silver lining, I would say, that we had somebody step up that we know now can play and fill that spot, and we feel comfortable not having Christian on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Christian is, like I said, an ultimate competitor, and he makes plays, and he has tenacity as an inside linebacker. So, but we feel like there's some young guys that are going to step in. You know, same with Carter Boldenhouse stepped in at defensive end when Trevor Lee went out, another freshman. But there are two guys that are very physical, and, you know, they're not shy to run up and hit you. And, you know, that's pretty rare to find freshmen defensively at those positions that can run up and make plays. And, you know, we feel very strongly about, you know, our defense as a whole.
You had to really like the way the game started. You found yourselves kicking off. You won the toss and deferred to the second half. Did a nice job defensively, 1, 2, 3, and forcing the kick. The ball goes over the punter's head, and you're sitting pretty inside the 20-yard line. Unfortunately, could not punch it in.
Oh yeah, I mean, at that point you're just assuming, okay, here we go, we're going to go up 7-0. You know, that's just the mindset. I'm sure our guys out on the field and our entire coaching staff is thinking, here we go, we're about to start 7-0. This is the type of game you mentioned. It's a physical. We played a physical team, and so that's the type of thing that you need when you have those things go your way. You've got to capitalize on them. You know, unfortunately we didn't, but you know, it certainly didn't take us out of the game. You know, I felt like we were in the game up until zeros were on the clock. So even being down 2 scores, so you know, it was definitely a great way. But you know, we'll learn from that, and you know, it was definitely pretty exciting. It was an exciting start.
Yeah, and you found yourself in good field position several times.
Sure.
Taze Valley had muffed a punt a little later on. They
Right.
had a fumble that was recovered as well.
Sure.
And I think the defense did a nice job on the night, Chillicothe-wise. It was a heavyweight bout between the two teams.
You know, we were just talking about this again today, how we felt like, you know, that second half, once Taze Valley got up, again, in a game like that is physical, you have two teams that, you know, really want to establish the run, and you know it's going to be a shortened game because of that. You know, I feel like they got up with the 2 scores, and they basically were, I wouldn't say comfortable, but it was as though they really wanted to speed up the process of the game as far as shortening that and making sure that we received as few possible opportunities with the ball as possible, and you know, so we defensively, we did. At times, there was a 3 and out here or there, or there was a time where defensively we bent, but we didn't break, and pitched a shutout in the second half. And as I said, I'm not going to insult people's intelligence. I mean, they really didn't take as many shots in the second half deep as they did in the first. They pretty much stuck with their ground game, and I like the way our guys responded and didn't quit until the last whistle was blown.
Got to like the Cavalier ground game too. Thomas Hunter, man, tough kid.
Yeah, Chucky Thomas. I tell you what, that young man, he played his heart out. We feel like we found. You're looking for coming into the season. We're looking for several running backs. You'd like to have running back committee, but he's definitely a young man that you figured you need to get him the ball, and he's young. He's a sophomore, and that's kind of the theme of of our team this year. And but he definitely had a solid. Again, you're looking for those silver linings. What can you build on, right? We had we wanted to establish some of the run game with Tice Natter and Kay Williams. Tice kind of ran into some cramping issues with his calf, and he's also a very great corner for us as well. So that was a tough blow, but we'll definitely get Tice back. And Cade, with Christian going out, we didn't have any more 3 guys to play the 2 inside linebacker spots, so we had to kind of save Cade primarily for defense in the second half for most of the game, because obviously Jaden went out early, so that definitely changed the complexion of both sides of the ball.
Cade did get to show his speed, however, on that fumble recovery. He scooped that up.
He sure did.
He sure did. He was going to score.
I mean, that was another one where, again, okay, we've got 14-7.
Yeah.
This is where we're about to turn this into a 14-7 ball game, and we never, our kids never hung their head. We as a staff, we just felt like we were in the fight all along, and just looking for those opportunities. Had the opportunity again, and failed to capitalize the score on that drive. But we're going to fix those things, and that's what comes at the end of the day. It's not to make excuses. I think if you had to have a first game and against a tough opponent, and you hang in there like that, you could take some things away from that you can build on. And I definitely think we have some things that we can build on, that we are building. We've had 2 good practices this week, and just learn from the mistakes, learn from how to finish drives, or when you have that situation, you can't make mistakes. You've got to capitalize them. So it'll be there. We'll make it happen.
You and I have both been around the game long enough to know that week 1 to week 2, you show a lot of improvement. And tell us how practice has gone so far in preparation for the next contest.
Sure. I mean, there was some things we felt like up front. We the linemen, they graded out well up front. You missed Chucky earlier. He had 74 yards and 71 yards. I think it was on 14 carries, just like over 4 yards a carry. You can't complain about that. So we just need to tighten some things up with the passing game, and that's obviously, it starts with our quarterback, and he's had a great week. Again, we've tailored the offense now to the guy that we're going to have at quarterback, the Christian Benson, and then, what does he do well? So that's what we're going to practice, and that's what we've practiced this week. And then what do the receivers do well? We've known what we've had with our receiving core. We've really kind of emphasized a lot of our blocking on the perimeter this week, and we need to improve on that. At times it was strong, at times, we need to improve. So those are some things offensively that we've worked on. Defensively, we gave it the 2 big passing plays. I mean, there were the 2 touchdowns and 2 catches, I think it was, that this young man had all game. It just happened to be for touchdowns. So obviously we've been working on, our secondary play, and and working on a rotation, with our defensive line to keep those guys fresh up front, and with our secondary as well, because we feel like we have really 4 solid corners out there that we can rotate. So we have 4 to play 2, and so we feel like we're ready. We have 3 to play 2 and at the safety position, and I feel strongly about that.
Mark Weber, Tays Valley's coach, was complimentary to the Cavalier defense.
Sure.
By basically stating that the Cavalier defense was built to stop the run and was doing a good job of that. And I think the quarterback only got loose one time.
Right. I mean, going into it, we knew he was the guy to stop. Great athlete, and being a 3-year starter, obviously a great leader for that team. So we knew he was the guy to stop, and we built a lot of our game plan around that. But we also knew that they would take some shots. We put them an opportunity with the first touchdown. I think we had, I want to say it was maybe the short punt, and they started inside on our side of the 50, and sure enough, we're yelling and screaming, here comes a shot, here comes a shot. They play action, go deep, touchdown. Again, a learning experience. Made a play on a young corner, and so that's what, and a young secondary in general, as far as when you think about the number of snaps that those guys have had, number of varsity snaps that they've had. Basically our safety and corner, kind of jumped on that route late, and when you do that against a seasoned receiver, they make you pay. So,
and that's a good segue for us, because those guys were likely playing JV football last year, and that moves us into the JV game. How did that go?
JV game, it was very similar. The guys fought hard. I would say at the same time, our JV team is mostly comprised of freshmen. So, but they play hard, and they're a physical group, and they're a talented group. We came out after our film session with the older guys, with the varsity team, and I know I was very impressed. All the coaches that came out were very impressed in what we saw out there as far as how they competed, and how they represent our school with dignity, class, and pride, and so didn't get the result that we wanted on that level as well. But we're going to keep fighting, keep pushing. Like last year, I know that last year's JV team started out the same way. Actually, I think it was a little bit worse, and they lost and ended up having, I think, maybe only lost maybe one more game the rest of the season, and had a great season. So, they're going to learn, and we're coaching them up, and we're taking as much time as we can to coach up the young guys and do as many walkthroughs as we can. Our numbers are good, but not great, to where we can always get just a straight JV, team session. A lot of those guys end up serving us well on the scout teams, actually. So that's how some of those younger guys, we figured, hey, they're ready to play the varsity level, because if they're pushing around our varsity guys, then we need to find a spot for them. That's where the Max Lees and Carter Bolton House, they come into play. So
Middle school level, you took on Waverly last week.
Yes, and our middle school team, 7th, 8th grade came out with big wins over Waverly. I think the 7th grade won 38-6, I want to say, or 36-8, one of those, and then I think the 8th grade was like 42-0. We've had a chance to work with them through our youth camp, and then they've been here in the summer, working out, and so had a lot of contact with those guys. Great group of young kids that we can't wait to see, at the next level, especially with the 8th graders coming up right, this fall season. So,
well, week 1 is behind us, and again, the loss to Tays Valley, but you know what? We still own the series.
Yes.
5-2. So next year we'll see what happens.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Payback is coming, as they say. Coming up on Friday night, it's the Mifflin Punchers. We will talk about that team coming up here shortly. But first, we have 5 Chillicothe seniors we want to introduce you to tonight. So stick with us as the Cavalier Coach's Corner continues in just a moment.
Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing in Central Center can customize T-shirts, banners, posters, vinyl lettering for your car, truck, and that can embroider logos for your school or business. It's time to show your team's spirit. And from Adina to Zane Trace, Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing has all the team colors. And of course, your Chillicothe Cavalier blue and white. So stop on into the shop in Central Center and see for yourself. Or visit Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing online and place your order today. Southern Ohio Monument Company believes remembering a loved one after they're gone can be as personalized as when they were here. With over 400 in-stock monuments to choose from, there are shapes and sizes to match nearly everyone's personality, helping your loved one make a lasting impression. Southern Ohio Monument Company on East Main Street in downtown Chillicothe. Open weekdays 8 to 5 and Saturdays 8 to 1. Southern Ohio Monument Company, proud sponsor of the Cavaliers.
Hi, I'm Angie with ATI Physical Therapy located in Chillicothe. If pain or injury prevent you from doing what you love, but ATI Physical Therapy gets you back. Whether it's back to work or back to your play, ATI's energetic and motivating team is ready to help you begin your road to recovery. We will craft a personalized treatment plan incorporating the appropriate techniques for your condition. Stop by our Chillicothe location for a complimentary injury screening or visit atipt.com for a location near you.
Young's Family Market is family owned and operated. M.L. Young founded the grocery store in 1936, and now a second generation of Youngs, Brad, Susan, and their children now operate the business. To also serve the surrounding area, the Youngs opened a second location in Kingston, Ohio back in 2014, making shopping easy by offering everything you need, including beer and wine, all under one roof. No more running all over town making numerous stops to get everything on your list. Instead, visit our store and find it all. We offer fresh, high-quality products for affordable prices. It's the Young's Family Market, serving the Laurelville, Ohio community for more than 60 years.
Kingston National Bank was founded in 1909 by local businessmen. The concept of a local bank supporting our community's financial needs with local decisions made sense. This is Phil Evans, President and CEO of Kingston National Bank. I invite you to make KNB your bank. We continue to make local decisions that benefit our communities. Experience innovative products and excellent customer service. When you need us most, you can count on KNB. Our community, your bank. Kingston National Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
On the Cavalier Coach's Corner, we have the 5 remaining Cavaliers seniors with us here tonight. We've got Jaden McNish, Dominic Nunziato, also McKellen Lee, Ty Snitter, and Gavin Mead. Guys, thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thank you.
Let's start with Mr. Transition. Last year, we were talking this a moment ago, you played a little tight end last year, catching the ball, wore number 19. Now you got the big boy number.
Yeah.
Talk about what it's been like for you to move to the line now in a different fashion.
I mean, from tight end, it's basically the same thing as going like to tackle, same blocking scheme, just not going out for a pass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and number change, it's not really different, it's just a number.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to 71 in my brother's old jersey, so I was like, might as well.
Do you learn anything from your older brother to tell you how to play this position?
I mean, I really don't play offense much. I'm more of a defensive player, but he has told me to shoot my hands more, stay lower.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
You had some scrums the other night too. I was watching the game film. Of course, you can see the highlight film at littermedia.com. But here you were punching around a little bit. Tays Valley made it tough, didn't he?
Yeah, I had 2 guys on top of me. I couldn't go anywhere. I just tried my best to try to get up and just walk away.
Just don't give up, right?
Yeah.
Dom, of course, being a wrestler, you're used to being in the trenches, so to speak, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
So talk about what Friday night was like for you.
It was a lot different because up until this year I'd played junior varsity, and it was a lot different, playing at the varsity level.
Now, you guys were sophomores when you were at Tays Valley last time.
Yeah.
They had grass, now they got turf. Did that make much of a difference for you?
Not really. I mean, we're used to practicing on the turf for years, so.
Yeah. So you're used to it now, and you still get those little rubbery things inside your shoes and other spots of your body as well, I'm sure. McKellen Lee, of course, you have suffered a knee injury during the off season, and unfortunately not able to pad up and go out there with the guys, but you played an integral role this past Friday night as a coach, didn't you?
Yeah, it was definitely different. First Friday night in 4 years I wasn't playing, but it felt good to be out there with the team and coaching them up, just trying to help out as much as I can.
Now, we are crossing our fingers and hoping that you do get a shot this year, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I look to be back close to week 8, if not, definitely for the Jackson game.
Yeah. What is it like trying to keep your mind fresh? Your body certainly will be fresh later in the season, more fresh than the guys have been playing for a few weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's different. It's something I've never done, but being here every day or being in therapy every day, it helps a lot. So.
Yeah. Tice, you were out there Friday night in a corner position, played some offense as well. Unfortunately, you saw a couple of touchdowns scored this past Friday night. Talk about what the difference of the speed of the game was, because you played some running back last year for the Cavaliers. I don't recall, did you play some defense last year as well?
Yeah, some games. There's a few games where I played DB.
Yeah, much different at the varsity level on a regular basis, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that was different. It's a lot faster. It's like everybody's bigger, so they cover that field a lot easier than it was like JV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the speed of the game is way faster. You just gotta be ready for it.
And you were put into some situations Friday night where you had to defend short field, and Taze Valley was trying to get their athletes down the field quicker, and it's tough to backpedal and catch these guys when they've got a head start, isn't it?
Most definitely, yeah.
Do you have anybody on this team that you would compare to in practice of what you saw Friday night?
Cam Smith, he's another corner.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nothing but improvement the rest of the way, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Gavin, playing in on defensive line?
Yes.
And fill us in on your position with the team. Did you play last year?
No, actually I did not. I was injured. I had a back injury, a lower back injury from my sophomore year. And really, last Friday, I didn't really get a chance to go out and play that much. But on Saturday, I had to take control and try to play as best as I can on Saturday.
On the JV game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's one thing to have a lower back injury, but you're what, 6'4", thereabouts?
Yeah, 6'4".
It's even more so that you're a tall guy, you don't bend easy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get low, especially when you're taller.
Yeah. And when you got to go nose to nose on a Friday night, that's not easy, or a Saturday as well. What sort of things, take us into practice Monday. What it was like when you guys got together. Of course, Labor Day being a holiday, you were in here early on Monday, weren't you?
Just really trying to make up for the loss Friday and trying to do our best for practice on Monday.
It's probably more film study on Monday, isn't it, than anything?
Yeah.
But Saturday morning is when everybody had a chance to really take a look at the Friday night as a whole. Probably didn't sleep much Friday night, did you? That stuff doesn't sit well, does it?
No,
We're going to change that this week, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. We'll not get into specifics on Mifflin, but most of you were participants last year in the contest, and that was a runaway for the Cavaliers, 56-14.
Yes, sir.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Talk about what you remember from the game.
I remember my first play. I made a mistake. I let the quarterback go, and the first play of the game, he scored. So this year, I just gotta break down and look and make sure he doesn't escape the pocket.
Yeah. Well, last year was the JJ and Zach show. Both of them, I think Zach had, two kickoff returns were touchdowns, and JJ might have had one as well. So that the last year's last year. We've got to make some things happen this year, don't we? Mm-hmm. We want to take a moment to talk about, you're all seniors, what your plans might be for the future. And we'll start with you, JD.
My plans are to go off somewhere around here, so it's like in-state tuition. I don't have to pay like out of state or anything. Yeah. But somewhere for engineering, mechanical if I can.
Mm-hmm. No school in particular yet?
Shawnee State, they have a good engineering program down there.
Yeah. Dominic?
I have plans to join the Air Force. I actually just finished my submission to the Air Force Academy today, so sending that in soon.
And that's not just Air Force, that's to the Academy.
Yeah.
So you like Colorado Springs?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been there, but it looks like quite the nice area.
Yeah. Work on your endurance because it's a mile high.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
But do you have a specialty in the Air Force you want to?
Yeah, I want to be a pilot.
Be a pilot?
Yeah.
Pilot. So watch for the flybys. McKellen, what about you?
I'm not real sure where I'm going to go to school yet, but I plan to study nursing wherever I go. So.
Yeah. And do you have an interest because of your injury, or is this something that you've experienced in the previous days?
No, not really. It's just something I feel like I could be good at. And it's a good job. You always need a nurse. Always need people in the medical field.
Amen to that. Yeah. Tice, what are your plans?
After high school, I plan on going to college also. But like Colin said, I'm not for sure where I want to go.
Yeah.
But I most definitely want to play football wherever I do go.
Yeah. Do you plan on cooking at all?
Cooking?
Yeah, ribs and stuff like that?
Nah. I mean,
Just eating the
like
ribs.
business
It would be
at
okay.
all, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you guys?
You know, after high school, really thinking about going to college, maybe like Shawnee State, like Jaden said, because I heard they have a pretty good game design club there, where you're able to make video games and get pretty good money for it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I saw some of that during the Science Alliance down at the centrifuge plant last year. You guys plan to go back again this year?
Not sure.
I'm
Not sure. I haven't looked into their October plans just as yet. Let's take a moment to talk about after football is done. I know some of you are athletes in other sports. Do you have plans?
Wintertime, I bowl, and then in springtime I play baseball.
That's two different motions, right?
Yeah.
Which do you like better?
Baseball.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Don't get all that oil over your hands like you do the bowling ball, do you?
No.
Dominic?
I wrestle in the winter, and then spring I'm probably just gonna be getting ready to go off to basic training. So.
Oh, very cool. McKellen?
In the winter I'm off, but I'm usually running with the cross-country team, getting ready for track in the spring.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, and you get healthy.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm trying.
Because he's a fast kid, sprinter right there. Tice?
Other than football, I run track. I didn't last year because I had a shoulder surgery, so it kind of messed it up. I definitely plan on being back out there this spring, and I was thinking about wrestling, but I don't know for sure yet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Weight class would be what?
175.
Can you do without eating? You got to do that, don't you, to make
yeah,
weight?
It's a little extreme, but I don't know yet. I don't know.
Might have to gain some weight and wrestle up, right?
Yeah.
Gavin, do you have plans?
Yeah, in the wintertime, bowling, and in the springtime, track. I throw and track.
Ah, very good. Okay. Some shot put action,
Yeah.
which, again, is heavier than a bowling ball. Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It depends on if you use a 12-pounder
Yeah.
or a 16-pounder, right?
Yeah.
So, well, guys, good luck Friday night against Mifflin. We'll have the show next week, and I hope to talk about a win.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Good young men here. That's all we raise as Chillicothe Cavaliers. We'll continue with the Cavalier Coach's Corner in just a moment.
Southern Ohio Monument Company believes remembering a loved one after they're gone can be as personalized as when they were here. With over 400 in-stock monuments to choose from, there are shapes and sizes to match nearly everyone's personality, helping your loved one make a lasting impression. Southern Ohio Monument Company on East Main Street in downtown Chillicothe. Open weekdays 8 to 5 and Saturdays 8 to 1. Southern Ohio Monument Company, proud sponsor of the Cavaliers.
Hi, I'm Angie with ATI Physical Therapy located in Chillicothe. If pain or injury prevent you from doing what you love, but ATI Physical Therapy gets you back. Whether it's back to work or back to your play, ATI's energetic and motivating team is ready to help you begin your road to recovery. We will craft a personalized treatment plan incorporating the appropriate techniques for your condition. Stop by our Chillicothe location for a complimentary injury screening or visit atipt.com for a location near you.
Young's Family Market is family owned and operated. M.L. Young founded the grocery store in 1936, and now a second generation of Youngs, Brad, Susan, and their children now operate the business. To also serve the surrounding area, the Youngs opened a second location in Kingston, Ohio back in 2014, making shopping easy by offering everything you need, including beer and wine, all under one roof. No more running all over town making numerous stops to get everything on your list. Instead, visit our store and find it all. We offer fresh, high-quality products, for affordable prices. It's the Young's Family Market, serving the Laurelville, Ohio community for more than 60 years.
Kingston National Bank was founded in 1909 by local businessmen. The concept of a local bank supporting our community's financial needs with local decisions made sense. This is Phil Evans, President and CEO of Kingston National Bank. I invite you to make KNB your bank. We continue to make local decisions that benefit our communities. Experience innovative products and excellent customer service. When you need us most, you can count on KNB, our community, your bank. Kingston National Bank, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing in Central Center can customize t-shirts, banners, posters, vinyl lettering for your car, truck, and they can embroider logos for your school or business. It's time to show your team's spirit. And from Adina to Zane Trace, Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing has all the team colors. And of course, your Chillicothe Cavalier blue and white. So stop on into the shop in Central Center and see for yourself. Or visit Chillicothe Signs and Screen Printing online and place your order today.
Back on the Cavalier Coach's Corner, we want to welcome back again Cavalier Tom McClaskey joining us as well with Coach Doug Pryor. And Coach, we now take on the Mifflin Punchers. This is a team from the City League. Cavaliers met them for the first time last year. Had a successful game, 56-14. It was at their place.
Sure.
This is their first time. I think the only time they'd ever been here in any fashion might be coming down for the Cavalier Invitational or maybe even the Fairweather Relays for track and field.
Right.
So a lot of these kids probably haven't set foot on the gridiron.
Right. You know, again, we got a chance to see their speed last spring with the Fairweather Relays, and then also obviously looking at film from last year. You know, Jaden McNish mentioned it earlier where you had, you know, zone read play to open up the game, and the quarterback ends up, you know, taking off 70 yards untouched. So, and that young man's back. He's now playing wide receiver. He'll wear number 1, and they have a number 4 on the other opposite him at the other, you know, ex-receiver. And so they have some, you know, 2-3 guys that can go. The tailback looks, you know, pretty strong as well. You know, offensive line-wise, you know, we should be able to keep it with their offensive line. They are physical and play hard, but, you know, obviously coming off a Tays Valley game, this is definitely a game where up front we should continue to, you know, stop the run initially and then get after it in our pass defense. So, yes, sir.
I'm sure you've got a checklist. What sort of things do you want to see accomplished this week?
You know, obviously, you know, finishing drives offensively. I mean, we moved that time. We moved the ball well. It was just finishing a drive. You know, we put together 2-3 first downs, and then, you know, we sputtered. And, you know, again, so we've done some things this week to really, you know, clean those things up and get our guys comfortable, you know, with what our strengths are. And, you know, obviously, you talked about the building from week 1 to week 2. You know, week 1's where you can actually see what works, what doesn't work, what will our identity be. And I think we've really found that. We look to establish that on Friday without giving, you know, too much away. So I don't even know if, you know, Coach Thornton from Mifflin will even watch this, but, you know, ironically, I've known him for about 10 years as well. I mentioned the Hinton family. I've known him for about 10 years as well because I actually years ago had applied to work with him at Brookhaven High School when he was there, and actually was almost joined his staff at Mifflin. Ironically, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when he first got the position.
Now he's talking about Anthony Thornton, who played against the Cavaliers when he was at Brookhaven, and we've seen him several times, and I think he likes coming to Chillicothe.
Yeah, he does. He's a great person, great coach. So that'll be exciting. Because you asked me about those times, but well, also I know the coach. I've known him for a while, you know, as well. And Mifflin, ironically, was my first. You know, those were some of my first memories of high school football in the Columbus area. Was going to a Mifflin Punchers game and going to a Brookhaven game. They had a million stars out there: June Hindley and Marlon Kerner and Terry Glenn. And then Yes, that was really, they were loaded back in the day, and that's, before people kind of started to spread out as much. The suburbs, the city league was really, really tough. It's still really tough, but obviously back then it was really, really tough. You didn't just walk into those schools and run over them 56-14, So we actually at Western North, my alma mater, we lost to Brookhaven my senior year. Handled them well my sophomore year. My junior year played them. Pretty tough and beat them at our place. And then senior year went over there, and a young man by the name of Maurice Hall, you probably remember from the Ohio State Buckeyes 2002 National Championship team. And, really good. And he's actually, ironically, a good friend of mine. There's a lot of ties to Mifflin, a lot of ties to the City League. So this is an awesome game, an awesome opportunity. So we're excited.
Well, you mentioned Brookhaven.
Yes.
If you didn't go to Brookhaven, you went to Mifflin pretty much.
Right.
And that being said, the last time Brookhaven played on their home field, which remember the school's been closed, it was the Chillicothe playoff game.
Oh, wow.
And so we go back to 2013 for that contest.
Sure.
But a lot of relationship, and this has been when I first saw Mifflin on the schedule, I thought to myself, I don't know about this. But there are so many ties to it. How do you not have Mifflin on the schedule?
Sure, definitely. Again, a good program, and they're definitely going to give us a great game. We've got to go out and get, win number one of the season. We can't overlook anybody. We're coming in 0-1 just like them. So that's what we want to see. Is you ask what we want to see. We want to see us establishing our identity offensively, playing, great defense, and coming out with a victory.
Yeah. Coming out with a win is far better taste.
Yes.
I don't care if you lose by 1 point or whatever, but if you have a game that you want to put out of your memory, the best way to do it is get a win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes everybody, push that much harder in the next week's practice, and, just builds that confidence, especially when you have a younger team, plus an inexperienced team for the most part. Again, even with, sure, we're playing some juniors out there, we're playing some seniors. It's a great opportunity. I also mentioned, when you talk about first-year starters, we'll have a first-year starter who'll at least be in the rotation. And Dominic Nunziato, that was just up here, he's a kid who last week he was playing, to be honest with you, mostly scout team, but had a great practice. So when it came to Friday, he's got to be out there, and when we put him out there, and, he didn't skip a beat. He played a really good game, and this week with the injury to Drew Seymour, you'll have Dalton Foraker playing. He's going to, Pat Work will go over to center this week, and so we'll have a new left guard starting, which he played some guard. He had to come into the game Friday. Dalton Foraker, junior, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, who also plays nose guard. He and Dom will rotate at that nose guard position defensively, but Dalton will start left guard. In a perfect world, Dom dominates Friday, or he plays well enough to where we really could just keep him fresh and keep him defensively, keep Dalton fresh offensively, and not really worry about playing Dalton on the defensive side of the ball. He's a tough defensive lineman. But Dom, we look for some great things Friday. Those are some more things to where when you have a game like this, to get in front of the home crowd and home opener, really, try to assert some dominance in this game and go from there.
Yeah. I want to get back to, I want to talk about your 5 seniors we talked to tonight. But I want to take a moment now. This is me on my soapbox here, folks. I was here for the Jackson game last year and the courthouse game, and there were more people on the visitor side than on the home side. We don't want to see that this Friday night. So let's get out in droves. Come on out. There's probably some good food to enjoy, a chance to and the weather's going to be great. So make sure you come on out to the ball game this Friday night in that regard. Now, let's take a moment to talk about the 5 kids you have here tonight.
Yes.
If we could start with Gavin Mead. Here's a kid who last year, as he mentioned, had some injury and dealt with some things, but getting more experience at the JV level right now.
Right. Gavin's a kid who hadn't played for 2 years, and So we wanted to see, what he can do. Let's get some reps under your belt, and let's see, are you a competitor? And he certainly competed, and he's been primarily a scout team defensive player for us, and he's shown some flashes, and so hopefully, we're hoping to get Gavin ready for Friday nights, before the year is out, because this is it for him. But he's a young man who, for him as a senior to be willing to do that, that just speaks to his character, and we're really excited about Gavin. Just as aside from the football, just a great young man to have on the team.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about Dominic just a moment ago. Tell us a little bit more about Nunziato and what makes him special.
Oh, he's a hard-working young man. As you mentioned, he's also a wrestler. He talked about that earlier. And had a great chance to, with him being a senior, and he's in National Honor Society. So it was kind of tough this spring to kind of get him over here to see a lot of them in the springtime, because he was always going to this banquet or that banquet, it seemed like. And I'm exaggerating, but he certainly put his work in. And then this summer, definitely a great leader on the team. And, he's played Cavalier football since he was in 3rd grade, and has given it all he's got.
Yeah.
So.
And when you look at Jaden McNish, here's a kid he's gained a little bit of weight,
yeah,
and that puts him on the line, put him in the trenches.
With our numbers, it was a situation where, Jaden last year played tight end, defensive end, and he's still playing defensive end and kicking butt there. And, it was a situation where we were thin in numbers, thin in experience on the offensive line. As it turns out, we've actually had, Brennan Macon has kind of stepped up at that, he stepped up at that right tackle spot. And so, Jaden and Brennan have kind of been rotating in practice, but again, you're trying to get to that elite level. You know as well as I do that you want to get to the point where you can be more of a 2-platoon team, right? Or at least, as we call it, have guys kind of going, not necessarily both ways, but we call it 1.5 ways, right? So where, maybe Jaden is just full-time defensive end, but then plays a series or 2 at offensive tackle, just to gear up for if something were to happen to Brennan Macon. So, you do those things. Ray Byers the same way. Ray, we want to try to save for offensive tackle at the left tackle, but he'll spare Jaden at some of those at defensive end a little bit. And so that's the situation we're in. We're kind of getting to that point where, okay, these guys can play Fridays. We can spare this person, spare that person, get them rest and keep them fresh. And that's how you get to playing at that higher level and compete with, anybody in the league. So. And you can see all that work during the week, but when the lights come on Friday night, that's where it counts. Definitely. And it really the proof in the pudding. So exactly. And Jaden, Dom, they've proved that. And so Jaden was one of those conversations that as the, it's like, here you go, Coach Seymour teased him all the time. Here you go, head coach, you've got this on your plate now. Deal with this, So that was a tough conversation. I thought it was going to be a tough conversation with Jaden, moving him from a, quote unquote skill position to, as we call it, a big skill position, or, a lineman, full-time lineman. You kind of take that, those dreams of scoring a touchdown, on a tight end seam or whatnot out of his hands, or on a boot pass or something. You take those out of his hands, but he's a team player and accepted it. And I kind of figured we'd probably have to do that anyway with our numbers and lack of depth, lack of size up front, and he's doing a great job. 2 words for those dreams: fumble recovery. Yes, exactly. Just think about that sometime. You score. Keep your eyes open when that ball carrier gets near the end zone. That's right. Right, hustle. Ty Snetter is another one of those we had on the show tonight. Tice is, and Tice is a situation where, Tice, when I came into it, I saw Tice as more of, maybe he could be that bell cow, 20 carry a game tailback. It's not that he can't be that, but then as it turns out, he's a heck of a cornerback. And again, we're searching for again, trying to get to the 2-platoon system and having strictly defensive guys, strictly offensive guys. And we kind of feel like if Chucky Thomas can be that guy at tailback who doesn't have to play defense, and then Tice can be that physical cornerback out there, that's a perfect world. But we definitely do want to get Tice some carries because he's a tough physical football player, tough physical runner, and so we definitely want to get him touches in the backfield. So he's a fun young man because he's a kid that, you don't have to work with him. You work with him on tackling, but you don't have to teach him about being physical, and you don't have to get on his case about being physical. I mean, if anything, you kind of sometimes, and I've never done this, but you might want him to turn it down a notch at time, dial it down a little bit so he didn't hurt the other corners in the group, right? Or hurt some of those scout team guys when we're trying to go, half speed or something. There's really no half speed with Tice, so that's a good thing.
That's a good thing to have, yeah.
Yes.
McKellen Lee, of course,
yes.
we're waiting on him.
Sure, and he's a young man. He's been showing up. When he's not in rehab, he's here, and he's great. He's been helping the younger guys, encouraging the whole team. He's right in the locker room. He's probably the loudest voice you'll hear in the locker room. That's the voice I heard. The first voice I heard in the locker room before the Tays Valley game and at halftime of the Tays Valley game is him trying to encourage his teammates and be there for them and keep the composure on the sideline. And I can't wait. I really just, hope and pray that he is able to make it back at some point for his sake because, he's worked hard for it. He's a great young man. And, you talk about ties, right? He had an older cousin that actually played running back. He was a year older than me in school, but was a heck of a running back for Western North High School. His name was Greg Lee. So, all kind of Chillicothe and Columbus area ties, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that with McKellen before. Clark Lee, Doodle Lee, Keith Lee, all older cousins of his. And,
right.
I had a chance to watch most of them play.
Right.
So, well, good luck against Mifflin Friday
you.
night. Let's bring home a win.
Yes.
I will unfortunately not be at the game Friday night, so I'll be tuned in on iHeartRadio, WBEX. You'll find Greg and Dana with all the action for you. That starts about 6:40. And I'll be with the Piketon Red Streaks and Wellston Rockets with the Litter Media Game of the Week, and we'll have a highlight video for that. Highlights of the Tays Valley Chillicothe game, you can find that as well on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search Litter Media. Guys, thank you so much. Good luck this week. And there's one thing left to say, and that's Go Cavs!